Hello friends, welcome to the third installment of the Trousers trilogy. This cat thinks she's so helpful. These are, of course, my tailor's tacks, and I'm going to go between the layers and cut the threads so we have markings for where to sew the darts. Hi, Molly! The first step is almost always sewing the darts. This is a different textbook from school, and I'm going to be following the fly instructions from this book because I think that they're more detailed. So, let's get on with this fly. By the way, this is the book I'm using. It is Reader's Digest New Complete Guide to Sewing. It's super handy, and we actually had a copy of this in the first sewing factory that I worked at, and if you needed to look something up, you looked it up in the book. The very first thing that I'm going to do is serge around the curved side of the fly facing. Here is the notch for the bottom of the fly. So this section of the crotch here, I'm going to sew that shut. Since these are dress pants, trousers, I serged the section that I had just sewed, the crotch. I serged that together because I'm not going to do any flat felled seams or anything on there. So now I am stitching the fly facing. I'm stitching the fly facing face to face in the crotch where it belongs. Here's a joke for you. What has more than 100 teeth and holds back a monster? My zipper! This is the fly shield. I've got it folded in half face to face, and I'm going to sew just one end of it together. It'll make sense shortly. We come back over here to our friend the iron. So I've got this opened up, and I'm going to press it flat. This long raw edge here, I'm going to serge because I don't want like a whole ton of bulk from. We are back at the iron again. We are going to press the fly facing seam allowance away from the pant leg. Or I guess it's not really the leg at this point, but we're pressing it this way. Position closed zipper face down on left side, because we're doing it the opposite of what the book is saying, because I want to be masculine. Yeah. So the bottom of the zipper should be down here. Position closed zipper face down on left side of facing. The right edge of zipper tape should lie along facing seam and bottom stop should be 3/4 inches or 2 centimeters from raw edge of facing. baste the zipper in place. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to baste the zipper in place. Got our nice long basting stitch here. I'm still using the regular foot, by the way. And I'm not bag tagging because I'm basting, and I might have to take this out. I have also turned up the bottom of the zipper tape. Oh, the joys of working with black garments and white sewing machines. Can you see one or the other? But you can't see them both at the same time. Now that this is basted on, we're going to do the actual stitching over on the other side. And this, so basting it over here, like, helps it to stay lined up and everything. But I'm going to stitch close to the teeth of the zipper with a regular sized stitch. And I am not going to hit that. I am not going to break my needle. Now I'm going to have to, I can't move that zipper. I'm just going to have to back tack here and call it good. And I'm going to stitch again, but closer to the edge of the tape. Next, I'm going to pin down the fly facing exactly where I want it to sit. I do have to switch to the other side so that I can sew this way. And I'm going to stitch down my fly. I'm going to sew right down the middle of the serging. And when I get down to the bottom, I am going to curve just like the serging curves. Next is this oh so fun task of taking out the basting stitches. I have pinned the zipper to the edge, the other side of the crotch opening, and I'm going to baste it in place. At this point, this is what the inside of the pants look like. The next step is going to be putting on the fly shield. I have pinned through the fly shield, but not through the zipper. So the pin should be on this side of the zipper because I will be basting on this side. Make sure that your fabric is sitting down nicely. We will do the basting with the zipper closed so that we can make sure that it sits down nicely. And of course, don't back tack because this is basting. Then we open up the zipper. Then we will be stitching pretty close to the teeth. So I'll be moving my zipper foot over here. So we want to get pretty close, but not too close. Like, if you're too close, you could interfere with the functioning of the zipper. And we will be getting as close down to the base as we can. Stitches, and then take out the basting. So with the zipper open, if your zipper is like too long and it's extended out here, then you might want to, like, you know, stitch over it with it open so you're not sewing it closed. But my zipper is not too long, so I'm not going to do that. For like jeans, etc., it's definitely recommended. I strongly recommend that you put a bar tack here, which is basically just a zigzag. But for dress pants, I think that's kind of optional because it's a little bit more casual looking, but I'm going to do that because the last thing I want is to rip out my fly. So I'm going to do that. I think I should switch back to the other foot before I do this. I'm actually wondering if I should do this backwards. Like this. So I start at the thick part and go to the thin part rather than trying to jump that. Definitely make sure that you are catching all the layers in here. That includes the fly facing, the fly shield, the zipper, all of that. Successful completion of the fly zip. Yeah. The fly is finished, but that doesn't mean that we're done with the front. Now it's time to assemble the pockets. So right now, this is the part where my hand would go in like that, and I'm sewing this face to face. I'm sewing the pocket bag to the body of the pants. That same seam that I just sewed, I pressed it so it sits down nice and flat, and now I am edge stitching. This edge here is the bottom of the pocket bag, and I'm going to serge that. You absolutely could sew it like a French seam or whatever if you don't have a serger. So now I have the pocket bag underneath here, and I've got it pinned, and then I've got it pinned up here too. And I'm going to sew through all 3 layers, but within the seam allowance, because this is, again, like, well, this is going to get sewn into the side seam, but just to make sure that it's in the right place and sits down nice, I'm gonna sew through all 3 layers. Basically, this is basting. It is now time to sew the center back seam. So I still have a few yards of this black fabric. What do y'all think I should do with it? Leave me a comment if you have a suggestion. This is how I have decided to do tags. Since I do a lot with like thrifted fabric, so I'll have like just 1 or 2 garments made out of a fabric. Printing my own tags seems like a good idea. There is like paper-backed fabric that comes like, you know, in an envelope with the printer paper. Like when you go to an office supply store or a craft supply store and you go to get printer paper. Yeah, you can get like fabric back paper that goes through a regular home printer, which is kind of exciting, and that's what I use here. So, printing my own tag. This is the part where it starts to really look like pants. We are going to sew the side seams. Sewing the inseam as well. I like to start in the center and make sure that the center seams are lined up. Now is a good time for a quick fit check. Does it fit? Yeah, good thing I tried them on because I realized that the crotch was sagging, so I trimmed off a little bit of the top. And now I have to remeasure the whole top and possibly cut a new waistband. So that's what I'm going to do. I have interfaced the waistband, which is essential with this fabric because this fabric is thin and a waistband needs to have some structure to it. If you're working with a particularly thick fabric, you could probably forego the interfacing. I'm pinning the waistband to the waist of the pants, and I'm pinning it to the outside because these are dress pants, so I actually don't want a whole lot of top stitching on them. So I will be stitching in the ditch later. Now that I have the waistband pinned to the pants, I am sewing it on. Now I am folding the waistband towards the back, and when I fold under the edge, I'm going to make sure that it just ever so slightly exceeds the stitching line. Dang, look at that blue sky, sunshine. I better hurry up and finish so I can get out there. This is what I mean when I say stitch in the ditch. The needle is going directly into the seam here. It's okay to go slow. Take your time. Make sure it looks good. And be very careful that you don't sew through the pins. Since they're on the underside, you just have to keep an eye out for them. That's all I got to say about that. This is what it's going to look like on the inside because as you recall, this side hangs just slightly lower and the stitching line on the other side. Then on the inside, be sure to inspect all along your stitching to make sure that it's all caught and nothing is hanging out. So right here, the very end, there's a little bit that didn't catch. I think I'm just going to hand stitch that. Pinning up the hem at the bottom of the trousers. Now it is time to make the buttonhole and sew on the button. This is the button that I have chosen. I chose this button because I don't have any buttons that match the ones on the jacket. I used all of those buttons on the jacket. So I wanted something that's not too ostentatious. It doesn't really, isn't showy or anything. A hook and eye would be completely appropriate for this, but I don't have one. And I have a giant box of buttons, and I'm gonna use them. To do business, Captain. So, despite the fact that I made them longer, they're still not really that long.